Jean Piaget was a Swiss developmental psychologist who studied about children in the early of 20th century. His theory of intellectual or cognitive development, published in 1936, is still used today in some branches of education and psychology. Its focus on children from the birth through adolescence and characterize different stages of development, including language, moral, memory, and reasonings. And this is what we are going to talk about, which is a Piaget stage of development. Piaget stages of a development are part of a theory about the phase of a normal intellectual development from infancy through adulthood. This includes thoughts, judgments, and knowledge. The stages were named after psychologist and developmental biologist, which is Jean Piaget, who recorded the intellectual development and abilities of infant, children, and teens. The first stage is sensorimotor period. This stage is involved a newborn infant to 2 years old child. At this stage, infants act on the world and understand the world through those actions, and particularly through their sense and through motions. Secondly, pre-operational periods. This period is involved 2 until 7 years old child. The child in this stage is not yet able to think logically with the acquisitions of language. The child is able to represent the world through mental images and symbols, but this stage, these symbols depend on the child's own perception. Next, concrete operational periods. This period involves 7 to 11 years old child. Let's watch this experiment clearly and focus on what are samples answer.
Air dalam dua cawan ni sama ke tak sama?
Sama.
Sama. Cuba adik tuang dalam ni. Okey, sekarang air dalam bekas ni dengan air dalam cawan ni sama ke tak sama?
Sama.
Sama. Kamil. 2 biskut untuk Kamil, 1 untuk Aina. Adil ke tak?
Tak.
Tak adil. Kalau kakak Aina buat macam ni, adil ke tak?
Adil.
At this stage, the child become more stable, think operationally, and use logical reasoning rather than intuitive thought. And the last one, formal operational periods. These periods involve 12 years old and above. Let's watch this experiment clearly and focus again on what are samples answer.
Kalau Abu lagi tinggi daripada Ali dan Ali lagi tinggi daripada Ahmad, siapa yang paling tinggi?
Abu.
Okey, soalan kedua. Kalau diberi pilihan antara duit RM50 sekeping ni dengan duit RM1 sebanyak 50 keping, mana satu yang adik akan pilih? Antara RM50 ni ke ataupun RM1 sebanyak 50 keping?
Sekeping RM50.
At this stage, the young person who has reached this level of cognitive development demonstrates a capacity to think not just about concrete realities, but also about the abstract possibilities. In conclusion, from the experiment, Piaget made several assumptions about children by developing his theory. The first one is, children build their own knowledge based on their experience. Number 2, children learn things on their own without influence from the adults or older children. And the last one, children are motivated to learn by nature. They don't need a reward as a motivation.